I am James Yoder, joined tonight, post-game show by Tom Yoder. If you're watching this later in the week, this is our live Michigan-Penn State post-game show. We've got our Michigan football grades. I've got my grades. Tom Yoder to my left, to your right on the screen. He has his grades. We're going to go through them. Jim Harbaugh, Don Brown, Shea Patterson, every position group, Josh Gattis, etc., and tell you guys what we think about this team following this game. Let's start with the man, the myth, the legend, Michigan's head coach, Jim Harbaugh. I gave him a B, and you gave him a C-. Why the discrepancy, T? And let's, in this segment, we're going to get some pep in our step. I want you to crack a joke this segment. Tom is new to the show. We're going to crack a joke this segment.
C-, James. If you lose the game and you play as well as you did tonight, and you lose because you made mistakes and didn't make big plays, it's on the coach. Let's face it. It's on the coach. And we've seen this too many times. And until Jim Harbaugh gets his team ready to play 60 minutes of football the way they're capable of playing, he's going to get these kind of grades. And he's going to have these kind of results.
Look, you go on the road against a top 10 team. I don't actually think Penn State is number 7 team in the country. I think there's more than 7 teams. But as of right now, they are the number 7 ranked team in the country. Michigan goes out, dominates them every aspect of the game, and an opportunity. If you'd have told me before the game, hey, Michigan has one play from 10 yards out or whatever it was, 8 yards out, to win this game, would you take it? Or to tie this game, I guess. To tie this game and go into overtime, would you take it? I would have said yes. Would you have said yes?
We were going for 2, James.
Ooh, we were going baby. For 2. Let's get a weigh in on that, Dylan, if we can.
We were going for 2.
Should Michigan have gone for 2 if they tied the game at the end there, right? Let's get a weigh in. That is a good question. Take a look at the stats here. Michigan loses to Penn State 28-21. Should Michigan have gone 4-2 if they would have tied the game there? Got that to 28-27 was under 2 minutes left. I kind of just lost track because we were trying to get ready for this show live.
Why not?
Post-game show. Why not? But we talked about it after the on the car ride down. It had to be a creative play because we remember the last time Michigan did that 6 years ago or so against Ohio State. Devin Gardner. It was just 4 guys going and curling at the goal line. It was a terrible play call, and Ohio State knew exactly the play call that Michigan was going to do. So we got it. That's how fast our guys are. They went into Photoshop and literally etched these graphics together in a matter of moments. Should Michigan have gone for 2 if they had tied the game? I guess if they had scored at the end. Should they have gone for 2? Type Y for yes, type N for no. We want to know from you guys. Live here on the Michigan Football Report post-game show. Wolverines lose 28-21 on the road at Penn State, Happy Valley. And
James,
and frankly, I want to know the question. Give me the answer, T.
James, how does Harbaugh get a B?
That's the answer to the question here. Yes or no? Should Michigan have gone for 2 if they tied the game?
Oh, absolutely, I think. Yeah, we had momentum. You win this game on the road. I don't think they could have scored. Now, the flip side of that is if we have momentum, we can win in overtime. But overtime's 50-50. And I just absolutely believe that, why not?
Really quick, before we go to the next grade, toss up Josh Gattis here. I got a question for you, T. Do you think Jim Harbaugh had any updog tonight? Do you think Jim Harbaugh had any updog?
Updog?
Yeah. Do you?
No.
You don't think he had any updog?
No.
Why not? Why no updog for Harbaugh?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Did Harbaugh bring his updog tonight?
You mean his spunk, his spirit?
No, but like his updog. You know what I'm talking about. His updog, right?
No.
Well, can you answer the question, please? Okay. Question toss him out there. Do you know what updog is? No, we're going to get him later. We're going to get him a laugh. I got him thinking, though, about what's up, dog. Josh Gattis, we both gave him a B, right? Okay. And he has gotten Fs and Ds from me, I think, all year. I don't think I've given Josh Gattis a higher grade than a D at some point, right? And so Gattis gets a B for both of us. What like we saw to Gas as we toss up the stats for the Michigan football offense. 21 points, 417 yards, 276 yards passing, and 38 minutes time of possession. They came with a plan today. I think it's the best game plan Michigan's had in maybe a year and a half on offense.
And unfortunately, if we make for Josh Gattis and his grade, if we make the plays and eliminate the mistakes, that's probably a B+ or an A-.
Yep.
Because they're going home with a victory.
Yep. So I thought Gas did good. I thought the stats and offense were good. I thought Shea Patterson played well. The only position that, if they would have won the game, I may have gave him an A- and had the wide receivers, the position he coaches, not stunk the whole game, then he might have got more than that had they won. But the wide receivers were the really big disappointing part of that game. So we both gave Josh Gattis a B. We've got Don Brown coming up here in a second. We'll talk about that here in just a moment when the production staff of Chat Sports Behind the Scenes gets us back to our grade screen. Dylan, we did good. So we'll talk about the offense still. Guys, bear with us for a second. 37 minutes, but want to ask you guys this question. No, don't say subscribe there. Don't tell, we'll toss it up there anyways, but it says subscribe across the top, Dylan. So we'll get it back to the grades here. Nevertheless, we're dealing with this live, on-demand Q&A show. They're building these graphics on the go. Is Josh Gattis on the hot seat? Tom, what do you think? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Let's see some 1s and 2s in the comment.
I do not think so. Again, we've been very frustrated this year with Josh Gattis. We have to show some patience. Definitely saw a lot that I liked tonight in a tough environment against a top 10 defense for sure. So I would say no.
I think he's on the hot seat in the sense that this isn't going to be his saving grace, right? I think he's on the hot seat in that aspect. Like, he's got to bring it from here, and this got to be a great offense the rest of the year to make up for that 6 games. So I think, yes, he's on the hot seat, but not the hot seat of, like, he's getting fired for sure. He's got an opportunity over 5 more regular season games to cement his place as an offensive coordinator and not one of the worst hires in Michigan football history. Don Brown is next up on our list for our Michigan football post-game grades. I gave Don Brown a C-. You gave Don Brown a C-. Out of the second quarter, that for middle of the first quarter to kind of the end of the first half, the defense kind of fell apart, and they let momentum from bad plays on offense and some drops on offense turn into huge plays for Penn State.
In the second half, we needed to make 2 plays to win this game. The Hamler play was just atrocious.
Yep.
And then again, Hamler at the end of the game, this little scat back running through the middle of our line for 3 yards and a first down to ice the game. I absolutely believe that we got the ball back right there, we'd have won, at least taken the game to overtime.
Are you drinking Gonan?
What's going on?
Yeah, you got it. There you go. I got him. I cracked a smile on his guy. First time on camera outside of the bedroom. Is Don Brown overrated? Want to know from you guys, is Don Brown overrated? I think the writing's on the wall on Don Brown in a lot of ways. He is O'Doyle, right, from the movie Billy Madison. He beats up on the 8th graders, but when they grow up and they can fight back a little bit, O'Doyle rules, hits a banana peel, and they go flying off the road, and you don't hear from the O'Doyle family again. So Don Brown is going to win you 9 games, 8 games just with the defense alone, but he has not ever shut down a team on the road, that's for sure. And really, there's only been a few times. Wisconsin, Penn State last year maybe were some of the shining moments. Florida in 2017 was a game I thought Don Brown did better than I thought. But, I don't think he's the messiah of defense like Jim Harbaugh has told us.
Absolutely, James. Tonight, if you look at it, we had the letdowns. They got the ball on the 5-yard line, and then we had, 2 encroachment penalties in a row. How does that happen?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
There's a lot of sloppy play from the defense. Let's keep it moving, though. Let's get to these grades. We'll subscribe. As you subscribe to the channel until we get into our players, we've got our player grades coming up. But make sure to subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Michigan TV. We do news. We do rumors, which we're phenomenal at. Highlights, grades, and live Q&A, the #1 show for Michigan football, the kind of audience and engagement and dedicated fans that John Jansen could only wish for, and Sam Webb maybe had 15 years ago, but has lost because people know he is kind of a chump, to be frank. Shea Patterson is next up on our list. I thought this is Shea's best game on the road.
Absolutely.
Against a ranked team, right? It's like, hey, he hits 475 on the year. Night games played on Thursday and the second head of a doubleheader. But it's a kind of good stat. I gave Shea an A- today. You gave Shea a B. Why the difference for you? Why not an A for Shea?
Much improved. But, we didn't have any touchdown passes today. And if you looked at the stats, you can talk to the wide receivers all you want. One of the things that you need out of a quarterback is to control that huddle. And part of that is letting those wide receivers know if you drop the ball, you're not getting the ball.
Yeah, I thought Shea played really good. There were a couple times where he left some plays in the field, but he made more plays in this game than he's done in the past 5 games. I thought he had a few plays in Middle Tennessee State, but after that, where were Shea Patterson's plays all year? Plays that, he did something. He hit a guy. He put it where he wanted to. I gave Shea an A-. You gave Shea a B. Let's take a look at the running backs. And I want to pull up the stats because I told you when we were walking in the beginning of the third quarter into the studio, the Palatial Chat Sports studio, that I thought the running backs were, I'm like, what are they doing? Still no running game. I gave him a C+. Where do you get off giving a B? Where do you get off giving a B?
James, over 125 yards against the top 5 defense coming into this game on the road. Those guys ran as hard as I've seen them run all year, and they didn't get as many yards as they did in a couple of the games against the weaker teams. But I thought they ran the ball really hard today. Charbonnet and Haskins. Shea ran the ball well. Was really not expecting this much. And again, I'll go back to our stats when we rush for 125. We win most of those games. We should have won this game.
Yeah, I mean, so let's say I want to look at the full game stats. Keep these stat leaders up here for a second, Dylan, because there is a Harbaugh stat out there, and I wish I had this. It's one of these ones that, like, our stats and research department, had they been on their A game, we would have had this beforehand. But it's like if Jim Harbaugh if a Michigan team runs for 125 or more, they're undefeated under Jim Harbaugh. So this might be their first loss, right?
40. No, I think we're maybe one
41-1 or something like that. So 141 yards for the Wolverines. You see our rushing leaders here. Zach Charbonnet, 15 for 81. 2 touchdowns for Charbonnet, right? That's a pretty good day. Shea Patterson had that one. What an effort, all-team effort, 11-man effort, and then Shea Patterson, 4th down touchdown. Basically was the only thing that the game was over if they didn't get that play, right? That was 7 minutes left in the game. That was a big play. Hassan Haskins got the start. I'm not sure if he was considered the starter now, but he was in there in the first possession. He has 13 carries, 28 yards. Kind of a big step back from his big performance.
Zach looks like the guy if he's healthy.
Yep, that's for sure. So let's take a look at wide receivers for the day. I thought the wide receivers stunk in a lot of ways, right? And they ran better routes because I think there was better routes for them to run, better coaching. Donovan Peoples-Jones, look, if he's not hurt, I don't know what to tell you, but I gave the wide receivers a C-. You gave him a B-. I wish you would have had this kind of grading as a parent, because you kind of always thought everything I did sucked, and you're like, I do something good, and you're like, that's a D+ work. When you fail, you'll learn something from it. You're much easier on the Michigan. And by the way, you cannot give enough plus and minuses here. You see mine? Those are rookie grades. You're giving B's and B's, right? So you're finally getting into my graces with the B-. But let's take a look at these wide receiver leaders. They don't get a 100-yard wide receiver, but some promise, right? Promise, but a lot of drops. What do you think of the wide receivers today?
I thought they did, when they weren't dropping the ball, they did a great job. And, we actually had a couple plays where we had big yards after catch day, which for some reason we've been starving for all year. I thought they blocked really well in a couple plays. We ran those wide receiver screens. On one series, we ran it to the right, we ran it to the left, and it was successful. But, I mean, we haven't seen that all year. Mm-hmm. And we were running routes over the middle, and the guys were making catches. But, the other side of it is they dropped, I don't know, probably 6-7 balls. The rule is if it touches your hands, you catch it.
Yep, that's fair. So let's take a look at the offense. Grade the offense as a whole. We saw our grades. You got a couple B's, a couple B-, A, B, C, D, or F. Give me your grades. For all you watch on YouTube, the Facebook Live audience is one of these ones that it pops off, well, in the hundreds of people watching. And I think it dropped down like 30 people, but YouTube is still rolling strong. So give me your grade, T. I'm going for an offense. I'm going to B, solid B for the day. Yeah, they popped the ball in the end zone there. It might have been an A- or a B+. I think it was a B.
I would go with a B, James.
Nice. A B for the offense. Let us hear your grades for the offense. You saw what we put for Shea Patterson, the running backs, and the wide receivers. How about the offensive line? It was a tough game. I kind of just copied you here. I'm not going to lie. I didn't really know what to give the offense. I thought Jalen Mayfield and some other guys made one, but we both gave B's here. Why'd you give a B on the O-line?
I thought they had protection all day. I thought they had running lanes. It wasn't a perfect game, but I thought it was one of their better games against a tough team in a tough environment.
Yeah, for sure. So offensive line gets a B from both of us. How about tight ends, right? Again, there was not the tight ends weren't around enough. I didn't hear enough noise, but I thought I gave him a B because of Sean McCune getting that one pass at the end, and then Eubanks had that nice play in the first half. So that's why I gave him a B, because they showed up, but they weren't a big part of the day. So you gave him a B. Give me a quick takeaway on the by the way, real quick, Eubanks 3 catches for 36, and then I thought, was that Eric All?
83.
That was Eric All.
Yeah.
For some reason I was watching, I thought that was Sean McCune. I'm like, okay, cool. 83. So Eric All had that catch. That was a big-time play. So you give him a B, I give him a B. So Eubanks, Eric All getting all the play.
It's tough to grade the blocking watching on television. I did see one play where I thought McCune didn't block like he could have. Unfortunately with him, it's Eubanks. Unfortunately with him, he's a really good blocker, and then sometimes he just takes plays off.
Yep, for sure. Let's go to special teams. What the hell, man? DPJ doesn't do anything. You kick these field goals and you miss. I gave him a D-. You gave him a D. Quick takeaway on the special teams.
James, the special teams, Chris Partridge, let's call his name. We haven't called his name in a while. It's funny, if the guy's not doing, if they're not doing anything to be noticed, you don't mention their names. But the last 3 games, these guys have been regressing. I mean, our punting game was not very good last week. Mm-hmm. Donovan Peoples-Jones caught a ball inside the 10 today and got crushed.
You see my poor decisions at the punt return. I thought for sure 4 drops, so keep going. Sorry about that.
And then, his last return when he took the ball across midfield, I think went out of bounds. I thought he was running. I thought, why not try and get as many yards as you can? I mean, this is the biggest part of the game here. And it looked like he was just ducking out of bounds. It's like, is this guy hurt?
Yeah,
I mean, he dropped so many balls today, and the way he performed on punt returns, it's like it seemed like there was an issue.
Yeah, for sure. I thought if he's not hurt, he shouldn't. I mean, if he's not hurt, he played like crap. So if he's hurt, maybe he shouldn't have been in there. But you can get in the game with our partner BetDSI. Promo code GoBlue at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code GoBlue, 120% deposit bonus. Let me just make it easy for you guys. Maybe it's your first time watching the show. You haven't gotten any of this education, this Yoder family knowledge dropped on you. If you're going to start a bank account, if you put in 100 and they give you an extra 120, you'd be like, this bank rules. Same thing with BetDSI. You put in 100, you got an extra 120. You put in 500, you get an extra 600 sitting in your account for a total of $1,100. Get going BetDSI. It makes every Saturday and Sunday, and now during the NBA season, starts on Tuesday, better and better. Keep it going with BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Let's take a look at the defensive line. They played pretty decent today. We both gave them some pretty good marks. What'd you like out of the defensive line, including Kwity Paye with those 10 tackles leading the team? I gave an A, you gave a B+.
Kwity Paye was all over the field today. I thought Hutch was everywhere, and we stopped him pretty much in the middle. The quarterback, I watched Penn State last week against Iowa, and I said, oh, my God, this guy's going to kill us up the middle with the runs. And it didn't really happen today, so I was pretty happy with the defensive line. Unfortunately, when we needed a stop late in the game, we didn't get it. Otherwise, maybe a better grade.
Yeah, for sure. So Kwity Paye played nice. Khalil Hudson had a pretty good game. The defensive line played good in overall. I thought that Kwity was certainly the star. And Aiden Hutchinson, he didn't have the stats, but we saw him a few times, getting after it, right? Like he played. I felt like Aiden Hutchinson wanted it tonight for sure. So I liked what I saw of the defensive line. After a little blitzkrieg of scoring there in the first half, they really put it together in the second half. The only score, Michigan, it was a tale of 2 halves in a lot of ways, right? Penn State had 21 points, so they have 21-7 at halftime, or was it? That was the final score.
It was 21-7 at halftime.
Yeah,
I'd love to see the second half stats because I think we probably dominated in yardage in the second half.
Well, we can do some deductive reasoning. If Dylan wants to toss up the first half stats at any point, and we don't have to do it right now, but if you want to take a look at the first half versus the game with one of these, Dylan, if they're ready, we'll take a look at those.
Take away that Hamler play. I think they had very few yards in the second half.
Let's take a look at the linebackers, and Dylan's going to show us the first half stats for the teams, the second half stats of the team. What our challenge is going to be is to do the math. So I gave the linebackers a B. You gave the linebackers a B. No outstanding plays, and frankly, not as many tackles as we normally get from the linebackers. Usually, you're seeing Glasgow, you're seeing Kalik and McGrone getting 7, 8, 9, 10 tackles, and you didn't see that as much today. So we gave them a B, but they played pretty good. Okay, first half stats. This is what things look like at halftime, right? So keep these up here for a second, Dylan. Total offense, 187. So what that means, quick math for you folks up there in the streets. So what, Michigan, 230 in the second half?
230 in the second half.
230 in the second half. 80 in the second half for Michigan, right?
For Penn State.
For Penn State. 230 to 80 in the second half.
Take away the Hamler play, it's probably like 35 yards.
Yeah, that is huge. The defense played big time in the second half, and I'll give Don Brown some credit. Knowing that, I actually am pretty excited about what they're going to do against Notre Dame on defensive perspective. Penn State got them. They took advantage of all that whiteout and all that stuff in the first half. The second half, crushed. And time of possession, wasn't nearly as slanted, but still Michigan dominated. It was something
crazy.
like 17 minutes to 12 and a half or something like that.
Absolutely
in
crazy.
the second half. Take a look at those linebacker stats. We both gave them a B. 6 tackles for Kalik, a sack for Cameron McGrone, and 2 tackles for loss. 4 tackles for Jordan Glasgow, and Josh, you say a sack on the day as well. So we both gave the linebackers a B. And you guys are watching this as we go to the secondary grades. Coming up next, T is going to step off the set. I am going to go through Michigan football true false, give you guys a look into the program. We're good, Dylan. Just toss the secondary. So stick with us. We're going to take your questions, so use hashtag Michigan if you want to. We're going to take questions later in the show. We're going to keep live for about 20 more minutes. Let's take a look at the secondary. C and C minus. Maybe this is too harsh, right? Maybe it was, but they gave up long passes multiple times in the game for touchdowns, and you just can't get any better grade than a C for me if you're going to leave guys wide open. Made a few good plays. A couple of safeties came over and made good plays, but we gave him a C minus. Why so hard in the second?
Not only the big plays, and the first play I thought was just a tremendous pass by the Penn State quarterback. Not only the big plays, James, they made a couple key penalties that kept drives alive at inopportune times. I mean, Lavert Hill had one, and I'm pretty sure one of the other backs, I can't recall exactly, in the second half they had the same thing.
Yeah, that Lavert one was pretty brutal, so I didn't, it was a tough play, and they ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive, right? So that was a good one. Let's take a look at Sean Clifford's first half stats. 115 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Didn't do much on the ground, but got that 1 rushing touchdown, so he accounts for all of the points in the first half, or at least, part of the points in the first half.
And he had a first down run, I believe, a critical
that
first
killer
down
play.
Run.
It was 3rd and 8 or whatever it was inside the 20. That was a killer play for Sean Clifford. So 115 yards passing in the first half. I feel like it felt worse, but apparently it wasn't. But we're going to get his full game stats up here in a second. So 182. So the only play he had all day was that touchdown, right? So 115 from 182, you can do the math, 67 yards passing they held him to. And so, frankly, would they have 20 yards rushing in the second half? KJ Hamler did a lot of the damage for the Nittany Lions. Much of it came, he was consistent. He did some damage in the first half. He did some damage in the second half. I saw Josh Uche on him, and Uche did okay on him, but it reminded me a lot of Saquon Barkley and Mike McCray in 2017.
Absolutely. James, how do we let this guy get out of the state of Michigan?
Yeah, I didn't really know that until this week, right? That he was out of the state of Michigan. I'm going to take a look at his recruiting bio from Chat Sports' recruiting experts. We don't use any other sites for recruiting information. That is a fact, F-A-C-K. So number 323 in the country, according to Chat Sports, in 2017 went down to IMG. Okay, that makes a little bit of sense.
Shea,
lived in Michigan. These are the stats for KJ Hamler. We are Chat Sports' Michigan Football Report, news, rumors, highlights, drinking on screen. That's not water, folks. That is vodka, because he is drinking and his sorrows away from Michigan losing 28-21. Tom's going to step off the set here in just a moment. I am going to stay with you guys for Michigan football Michigan football Q&A, and we're also going to talk through our Michigan football true and false going in there. So Michigan loses 28-21 to the Penn State Nittany Lions. Shea Patterson was the leader on the day, 276 yards, 1 interception, 41 yards passing. Zach Charbonnet had a pretty nice game for the Wolverines. I didn't think that they started off doing well on the ground, but ultimately it turned out to be a pretty nice performance. But Michigan wins 28-21. Michigan falls to 5-2 on the year. They'll be ranked somewhere in the bottom half of the top 25, the 21 to 25. They'll probably rank 22, 23, 24 next week. Maybe they'll get some credit because a lot of teams lose games and they're close against big teams and they don't fall as much as you would expect. But that is the word from Michigan. I'm going to be coming back, so stick with us here for just a moment. I've got my Michigan football true and false.